Of course, they will be playing a best of 3, so it's going to be interesting to see how far this game is going to go. Rosemary has led out with the Alcremie and the Togekiss, whereas Aaron has gone for the Lapras and the Primarina, so a very offensive pressure start here from Aaron.
Yeah, I think 2 of those Pokemon that are well known in the current format, just, staples of the water type. Lapras, something that's really come to life a little bit more recently with the Gigantamax form, and that troublesome resonance, G-Max resonance, that sets up an Aurora Veil for you. Of course, not many players are experienced going up against something like Alchemy. It's not something that we see often in competitive environments, so maybe this is a chance to show it's got some fun tricks and some kind of shenanigans it can get up to. Be curious to see exactly which version of the Alchemy we're going to be seeing, as we are going to get it Gigantamaxed.
Yeah, going to go into its Gigantamax form here. Like you said, Adam, not something we often see, so it's a delight to be able to have it out here on the field at the moment. Togekiss, of course, is going to be there as well to help out with some redirection potentially, but it's going to be all offensive pressure here. Aaron as well going for the Dynamax, and he's got 2 Pokemon here that are very well versed in Dynamaxing, but I think opting for the Lapras is definitely the optimal approach here. You can really apply some pressure to that Togekiss with a G-Max Resonance, try and maybe pick up a KO with that Ice-type move and remove that pesky Pokemon from the field. The one that's going to happen out in this turn, actually Alcremie going straight for the Max Overgrowth, so Grass-type move. We know it's on the team now, Adam.
Yeah, I mean, you have to reveal it at some point, and if you need to get big damage down, Overgrowth definitely the way to go. So there is definitely an answer if that Gastrodon comes to play. There's plenty of things going on from the Fairy type side of the field. A Yawn could be really, really troublesome. And we start to see the kind of synergy between water types here.
Yeah, I love that synergy there. Going for the Surf with the Water Absorb on the Lapras will help heal any HP that Lapras takes before that move makes contact. So it just shows that Primarina is really helping out its partner Pokemon, trying to restore some HP and keeping its longevity on the field. Something else that's really going to help is the setting up of that G-Max Resonance, so that Aurora Veil is now on the field, going to boost up the special defense and the defense on Aaron's side of the field.
Yeah, it's going to be a real issue to take down this Lapras right now, and I think obviously, something like the Yawn is going to try and help out there. What I really like is, the way he's got so many things to keep his Pokemon healthy. He's setting up the Aurora Veil to keep the damage from going down in the first place, and even if it does go down, he can just land a Surf and heal up with Water Absorb. So looking to cause a number of problems just by not letting his Pokemon become unhealthy and very difficult to beat. I mean, this Surf is going to be doing consistent damage. Didn't do too much to the Alchemy, but there might be an opportunity as well now. The Resonance has set up the Aurora Veil to take control of the weather, set up the rain, and allow those Surfs to do even more damage.
Well, Sylveon on the field here now, going to go for the Helping Hand, going to deal out extra damage from the Alcremie with the Overgrowth. Going to go straight into that Primarina. Not enough to pick up the KO though, really showing the bulk of that Primarina, particularly in the Aurora Veil. Just goes to show how setting that up really can help the longevity of your Pokemon here on the field. Surf coming out again, of course. Lapras doesn't really need any health regenerated there and goes for the Max Lightning. A really good choice here, because by setting up that electric terrain, the Yawn from the previous turn is not going to take effect and the Pokemon will stay awake on this turn.
Yeah, he absolutely has to do that, else this Lapras is going to fall asleep. And you see it there, the electric terrain keeping him safe. One of these really cool features, I think, of Lapras, to say, you know what, I've got so many options. You Resonance nice and early to set up that Aurora Veil, keep yourself from taking much damage. And then, we've seen it in so many games. Yawn and Sleep has been such a powerful mechanic. Keeping the availability to, use your Dynamax move to keep yourself safe is so important.
It is, and speaking of moves, we've got the G-Max move here coming out from the Alcremie. Not doing too much damage, but crucially going to heal a little bit of HP from both of the Pokemon on Rosemary's side, and that could come in handy later on. Surf coming out here, just going to re-heal up the damage that Lapras took as if it never happened. And going to just do a little bit more chip against both the Pokemon on Rosemary's side. The Sylveon retaliates with a Hyper Voice, so there has now been a strong KO here. Primarina is going to return to Aaron, but it does leave him free to switch in another Pokemon and apply some more pressure going forward. As Max Geyser comes out from the Lapras. I really like this turn as the Dynamax turns end, because you're going to set up the rain, and as Aaron is a water type gym leader, the rain is going to be his best friend. He can boost up those water type moves going forward, as long as he doesn't bring that Gastrodon onto the field.
Yeah, and I mean, he's put himself in a really interesting position here, right? He's kind of got control of the terrain, control of the weather now for a very beneficial weather. And Rosemary hasn't been able to answer that in the same way. On the flip side, though, you know, she's kept her Alchemy on the field since the beginning of the game. It's still very, very healthy, considering how many attacks have been heading that way. So it'd be curious to see what it can do now it's out of that Dynamax, or the Gigantamax, indeed, form. But I do think there's going to be a lot of offensive pressure coming out from Aaron. We did get a peek at the item on that Politoed, so this could get quite a lot of damage down very early in each turn.
Yeah, Politoed, a blast from past that Pokemon, and it's here back in action. Not actually doing enough to pick up the KO against that Sylveon. Will be hit with a Giga Drain, so Alcremie going to be able to regain a little bit of health as well that it took from that Surf. And I think it's interesting that both of our gym leaders here are actually applying a lot of restorative HP moves. You've got things like the Giga Drain, you've got things like the Synergy with Surf, regaining the HP on Lapras. Freeze Dry coming out there from the Lapras, going into the Alcremie for a little bit of chip, but Adam, there's not a lot of damage being dealt out here on the field.
I don't think it's as much as you'd like, and I think Lapras has kind of done its job, right? In its Gigantamax turns, it set up terrain and weather. So now it's actually going to leave the field, and Aaron's going to go for kind of that closer play, right? We've already seen that Surf is a common move on his team, and he's going to try and lean into that. You said there wasn't enough damage, and he's going to try and take advantage of Storm Drain with these consistent Surfs.
Yeah, once again, Aaron really showing he's the master of synergy here, because water-type attacks are redirected round to Gastrodon thanks to its Storm Drain ability, unless they are spread moves. So being able to target all the Pokemon on the field here means Gastrodon's going to get a cheeky special attack boost, and damage will still be dealt in the rain to both of the Pokemon on Rosemary's side. So really great team building here from Aaron. Gastrodon now on the field, able to apply a little bit of threatening power thanks to that boost.
Yeah, and I think what's really interesting here is the Alcremie's revealed it has a Grass-type move. We now know it's Giga Drain, and the Gastrodon coming in is quite bold there, because the Gastrodon's not exactly a particularly speedy Pokemon. It's going to struggle to deal with those Giga Drains, but it looks like it's just going to keep on trucking and hope they can get a knockout on the Alcremie. The Politoed is afforded the chance to move after a quick attack comes so close.
Yeah, quick attack, bring it down to 1 HP, able to get that Surf off. Not enough to pick up the KO against the Alcremie that is going to go for that Giga Drain into the Gastrodon. Not enough to pick up the KO though. That's not something we often see. Normally a cross-fight move into a Gastrodon is a clean KO there, but Alcremie not being the offensive powerhouse that it needed to be in this situation. Surf coming out again here, going to target into all the Pokemon. Not very effective against Politoed, but that 1 HP of damage is unfortunately not enough to help it withstand, and it will leave Aaron down to his last 2 Pokemon.
Well, Aaron set up himself a fantastic endgame here. He bought in Gastrodon to get a Storm Drain. He knew with the Choice Scarf he'd get another Storm Drain. So even though, you know, he had to worry a little bit about the Giga Drain, it didn't do as much damage as he might have hoped. And now he's got a Gastrodon with 2 Storm Drain boosts, able to just kind of keep on going. The Mimikyu coming in last, a pretty interesting choice, you know, not something we usually see as a closer. And I think there's going to be a lot asked of it on its own to try and get there.
Exactly. Mimikyu, it does have its disguise ability to kind of be able to withstand 1 attack, but against 2 Pokemon, you're going to be struggling. So going for the Sword Stance, meaning that if you're able to connect, you're going to deal a really heavy punch, is a wise choice here from Rosemary. The Thunder coming out here, just going to break the disguise and obviously give Mimikyu that little bit of chip as well, to prevent it from potentially holding a Focus Sash and giving it 2 do-overs in a sense. The rain has stopped, but due to the fact that the disguise is broken, both Gastrodon and Lapras can apply some good pressure, and with that synergy from Surf, and there's not really a lot that Mimikyu can do here, other than, okay, maybe go for the Wood Hammer.
Yeah, I mean, that turn where Gastrodon kept itself safe, knowing about the potential Wood Hammer from Mimikyu, allowed Mimikyu to set up the Sword Stance, knowing about the disguise. It's going to take a lot of damage in recoil, but this Lapras, you know, probably needs to start looking for a knockout quickly, or else this Mimikyu could seal it up. It is going to hang on through all of that, and the Aurora Veil wears off. Crucially, this super bulky Pokemon in Lapras is a little more threatened. We just saw the Mimikyu move before it, and Wood Hammer to follow up with no Aurora Veil seals up the game. I didn't think Mimikyu could do it, but I was proved so wrong.
Oh, I mean, that's what we get for, you know, talking down Mimikyu. Mimikyu will be KO'd at the end of this turn, but it has been victorious for Rosemary. I mean, what an endgame turn there. There were just so many variables. Woodhammer, obviously, a really big offensive move with the Sword Stance boost as well, going to really help it deal out some big damage. But it also takes a decent chunk in recoil, so it put the Mimikyu in a really awkward situation where it almost did itself down to 50% after using Woodhammer, so a move from Lapras could have picked up the KO, but it just managed to hold on, allowing it to pick up the KO in return thanks to Aurora Veil going down. And wow, that was one of those turns where everything stacked up in Mimikyu's favor, and yeah, amazing plays.
Yeah, I mean, the Aurora Veil was so crucial throughout the duration of the game. You know, those Giga Drains weren't doing much damage. Even the, you know, big, super effective hits weren't doing much damage. But it ends at just the perfect time. And that turn right towards the end where Rosemary decides to Swords Dance with the Mimikyu is absolutely essential. So it looks like, you know, Aaron's just going to keep wailing on this Mimikyu, keep landing that damage down. But he decides to protect. He knows that Mimikyu can carry Woodhammer. Plays it safe. Rosemary takes advantage. She knows she's got Disguise. She knows she needs the boost. Gets it set up and sets herself up an endgame where she can win. If Aaron had gone for an attack in that turn, you know, he'd have been able to land maybe some recovery on Lapras as well. But playing it safe put him a little bit behind the pace.
Yeah, that was the thing. Aaron had a lot of amazing synergy on his team, particularly with that sort of surf spam. It really was helping restore the Pokemon's HP or give the Pokemon a boost while still dealing some damage, and particularly in the rain. That helps out the water type moves as well, but he wasn't actually picking up fast, quick KOs. It was constantly a little bit of chip damage here, and he was also taking a little bit of chip damage in retaliation. So I feel like maybe going into this game too, he's going to want to hop on the offensive a little bit more and just apply a lot more pressure from the get-go.
Yeah, I mean, let's see if he plays it out early. I think the early game went fine for him. Getting the Aurora Veil up was so helpful. But then it just kind of started to slow down a little bit after that. And bringing in the Gastrodon was great. But Rosemary just kept up the pressure, and then finding that opportunity at the end, so important. We'll see if there's any changes. I think Aaron's team selection was pretty much what you'd expect. The synergy was there. But I think the kind of onus is on him to change it up a little bit, especially now he knows that there's a Giga Drain and a Woodhammer available to help deal with some of his threats.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see if he makes any changes going into this game too, and if he's able to apply more offensive pressure. Rosemary leading out with the Grimmsnarl and the Togekiss this time, as Politoed and Lapras lead out for Aaron. So I actually really like both of the adjustments on these leads. Bringing the rain straight to the field means that Lapras doesn't have to worry about setting that up with a Max Geyser, or alternatively it can still go for a Max Geyser if it wanted to and get that rain boost. Whereas on Rosemary's side, she has got all the supportive pressure there with the Grimmsnarl.
And I think what's quite interesting here, looking at Aaron's menu actually, is he does have Surf on his Lapras as well, which is great if you're next to the Gastrodon. But the problem is here is he's got the rain, he wants to take advantage of it, but he can't surf his own Politoed reliably because it's just going to do it, you know, too much damage. So it's kind of putting Aaron in a strange position, maybe using, you know, a move he didn't want to. You know, he does of course have access to Ice type moves to help deal with the Togekiss. But if you leave this Grimmsnarl on the field for too long, it's going to cause some problems. You know, Light Screen is going to be a big issue, especially with this lead. Thunder Waves could be a problem, just spreading around some paralysis as well. So we'll see exactly how she decides to play it out. And this Light Screen is going to, you know, cause Aaron the same problem that he set up for Rosemary in that previous game with the G-Max Resonance.
Yeah, you never really know what Grimmsnarl's going to do until it reveals its set, and going for the Light Screen is a really great play there, as a lot of the moves on Aaron's side are, of course, special attack moves. So getting up the Light Screen means you're going to be a little bit more protected from that. A critical hit coming out onto the Lapras, though, going to deal a chunk of damage, and there's no Dynamax in this turn one, unlike in game one, where they both click that Dynamax button straight away. Thunder coming out from the Lapras as well, going into that Togekiss, but not dealing as much damage thanks to that Light Screen.
Yeah, I mean, just look how effective the Light Screen was. Togekiss took a Surf in the rain and a Thunder, and it's only just below half. So without the Light Screen, this would have been a very different turn. That said, you know, looking at Aaron's team, it's predominantly special attackers. I mean, it's all special attackers. And, you know, you don't need to worry about setting up a follow-up Reflect. So you can just kind of start spreading around some paralysis with Thunder Wave, or digging into Grimmsnarl's very, very deep supportive move pool and use that with Prankster. So be curious to see how she follows up from a very important Light Screen. And seeing a screen go up, I think Aaron may be looking to sneak in one of his own as well.
Yeah, exactly. It's time to jump onto the offensive. You can deal some big damage with the G-Max Resonance. We saw how much that did in game one, and even with the screen up, due to the low health on that Togekiss, if it does target into that slot, then it's going to be able to pick up the KO here. Lapras going to be healed up there as, oh, big damage on the Grimmsnarl with the critical hit. Removes that from the field, which must be a sigh of release for Aaron. We know how difficult Grimmsnarl can be, like you said, with that prankster ability, going for things like Thunder Wave, and then the potential paralysis that comes with that. But critical hits all around here. That Togekiss, well known in the normal VGC format for landing critical hits, and gets a double there on Aaron's team. He does, however, manage to get the G-Max Resonance off into the Togekiss, so gets a double KO, putting him in a really strong position, and with these screens up, he's looking strong going into these next couple of turns.
Yeah, I think the loss of the Grimmsnarl there is certainly going to slow Rosemary down a lot, and Aaron's put himself in a very solid position right now. He knows he needs a little more oomph to try and get past the light screen, and you know, I think finding that by going into the Gigantamax form is probably wise. He also gets the benefit of his own screens, which is going to help out. You know, we saw the Mimikyu doing some very good damage, but you know, the big hit that it landed, the Wood Hammer on Lapras, was after the Aurora Veil, so certainly going to help out there. And now, you know, he's already got control of the weather in the rain and the drizzle that Politoed brings, so I think there's just going to be a lot of water type attacks that Rosemary's going to have to deal with, and the light screen can only do so much.
Yeah, I don't see a reason to go for anything else at this stage. Particularly going for those spread moves, you're going to be able to break the disguise on Mimikyu, leaving it more vulnerable going forward. And Mimikyu was so strong in game 1, but it also had to use that turn to set up the Swords Dance to get that offensive pressure. It's exactly what Rosemary has gone for again, but that is still one turn. You're leaving yourself exposed to being targeted and having your disguise broken. Sylveon, though, going to go for a Hyper Voice here. Does some good damage, but not enough to pick up the KO against that Politoed, as Lapras returns with a Max Geyser. So this is also rain boosted already. Going to be dealing a huge amount of damage. Doesn't quite pick up the KO against that Mimikyu, but it's certainly sitting in a dangerous position. It's not going to be around for too much longer to help Rosemary out like it did in game 1.
Yeah, that Mimikyu's definitely not got many turns to take advantage of its Swords Dance, and I think that's kind of what we talk about in best of 3 sets a lot, is if you learn something in game 1, you've got to use that information in games 2 and 3, and he knew about the Swords Dance. He knew that was an endgame win condition, and you know, even with these strange limitations, you still play to the best of your ability and say, hey, you know what? I know about this threat, I'm going to try and deal with it. No Dynamax yet from Rosemary. That's where she goes with the Mimikyu. Doesn't get a huge boost to its health because of how low it already was, but you know, it does help out somewhat.
Yeah, I like the plan she's going for here. She knows Quick Attack can pick up the KO against that Politoed, remove the threat, and she knows the Mimikyu is faster. So with the Swords Dance boost, turning it into a max overgrowth into this Lapras, she's going to be crossing her fingers. It's enough to pick up the KO, but it's not. Lapras just able to hold on behind the Aurora Veil. But you can really see the reasoning behind going for the Dynamax, even at low HP. It really was kind of the one out in this situation. Just unfortunately, it didn't pick up as much damage as she needed.
And there's that Aurora Veil coming back, you know, the Aurora Veil set up by the G-Max Resonance. So important, and really, you know, a key indicator of why so many players have gravitated towards Lapras in the VGC format this year. You know, Sylveon's still on the field, it's not completely lost, but Sylveon, even with Hyper Voice, is still going to have to work through 3 Pokemon behind an Aurora Veil, and I think that's going to be quite difficult. Interestingly, we do see a change in team selection from Aaron. You know, bringing a Kingdra, a dragon type against fairies is a bold move, but I think he's feeling pretty good about the position he's in right now.
Yeah, definitely brave for Kingdra to jump out onto the field, but if it is the variant that's got Swift Swim ability, the move that doubles the ability that doubles your speed in rain, it's going to put him in a great position to be able to deal out some big damage. And because he's got sort of the Pokemon advantage in this situation, Aaron's not going to worry too much about maybe losing Kingdra as long as he's able to deal out some big damage against that Sylveon that is relatively unable to regain HP at this stage. Going for a Surf here in the rain does a good chunk of damage to that Sylveon and helps regain some of the health on that Lapras. Sylveon going for the Hyper Voice does deal huge damage, but again, that Aurora Veil helping out the Kingdra there that normally would have gone down straight away to such a powerful fairy type move. Lapras follows up with a Thunder though.
Oh, and it gets the paralysis on the Thunder as well, so the perfect kind of move to hit and get all the effects from on the last turn of rain. You know, this Kingdra is not going to be dealing as much damage. This Lapras is, you know, still going to be a little bit limited. You don't want to start surfing next to your Kingdra because it doesn't have something like the Water Absorb, and the light screen wears off. So this is kind of everything coming together. Yes, you've lost the rain boost, but Rosemary's also lost the defense boost from light screen. So we'll see, you know, if Sylveon's afforded the opportunity to move, we're still going to get Lapras getting boosted up nicely every single turn by its Water Absorb. But it looks like we're going to be heading to game 3 between these two.
Yeah, it's definitely been a very intense first 2 games in this set. sort of at the end of game 1, everything worked out perfectly for Rosemary in terms of the timings of things expiring and getting the damage that she needed. Sylveon is able to hang on though. Kingdra will be KO'd due to a critical hit, but Lapras able to hang on here. It does look like Lapras is safe as well, particularly with that grassy terrain boost from a potential quick attack that Sylveon could have gone for. So I think in this next turn, just thanks to the speed disadvantage that Sylveon's got now, thanks to that paralysis, it's just going to be a click of the button for Aaron to be able to take this to game 3. But like I was saying, in game 2, the way that Aaron managed to time things perfectly, particularly in this endgame state, getting the paralysis, letting the light screen wear off, it all really just sort of stacked up in his favor to close out this game 2.
Yeah, and I mean, quite interesting to know that Sylveon took those hits surprisingly well by actually sticking around. Could be a kind of interesting piece of information to talk about in how it's trained and how well it can deal with hits. But overall, you know, Aaron gets there in the end, pushes us to game 3, and I'm pretty excited for that one. I think both trainers have shown off cool different parts of their strategies, so I'll be curious to see how they match up with, I think, all the information laid out for them.
Yeah, and they've changed their teams, both of them, from game 1 to game 2. And I think it was interesting that Aaron decided to bring the Kingdra. Like we were saying, it's a dragon type, so probably not the best Pokemon to bring against a fairy type team, but it certainly still played a role with that sort of surf strategy that Aaron's been going for. And even though it did get KO'd in the end, it still managed to play a vital part. But again, on Rosemary's side, she brought the Grimmsnarl, which I thought was a really great adaptation. It just unfortunately got KO'd due to the damage output on Aaron's side. So maybe if she brings that Pokemon and it can stick around a little bit more, it could really help her out. And I think setting up that light screen was a great strategy for her in game 2.
Yeah, I mean, the light screen's kind of obvious, right? He's only got special attackers, so light screen goes up and it really slows Aaron down. We saw he was, you know, struggling to get those big hits and those big knockouts. I think he was looking for in kind of games 1 and 2, you know, but both trainers getting quite defensive, setting up some kind of wall in front of their opponent, and it's interesting to see who can kind of weather the storm a little bit better than the other. So I assume we're going to get that kind of thing in game 3, but then it's really about landing super effective hits, you know, making sure your Pokemon are staying healthy, you know, both trainers having options to heal up their Pokemon, Aaron a little bit more so. And I really want to see Mimikyu maybe execute its strategy in full, where it gets the Swords Dance, then Dynamax at full health with its Disguise up, and go from there. I think that would be really interesting if we can get that going.
Yeah, potentially if you go for something like a Mimikyu Togekiss lead and use your redirection to keep Togekiss safe, but the one problem you've got is the sort of spread moves that are coming out from Aaron's side. Redirection's not going to help you out there. It's going to be able to hit both Pokemon. So there's definitely sort of pros and cons to both the strategies that these players are going for. But I think you're right. The Mimikyu's definitely a critical choice here. And maybe if it's able to get into the Dynamax earlier, maybe having to sacrifice the Swords Dance, it might just be a little bit more protected to withstand some of those attacks and deal out some big damage.
Well, I like the Grimmsnarl. I think it'd be curious to see what Grimmsnarl can do if it comes back in game number 3. You know, maybe it could do something after the light screen and kind of go from there a little bit. So I liked it, even though it didn't win the game. I think there's definitely a way to see it go. Curious to see Aaron leave the Gastrodon back in game number 2 as well. I wonder if he brings that back, you know, because it did work for him in game 1, even though he knows about the threat of the grass type moves. You know, he either has to put that in, he has to put the Kingdra in, which isn't going to fare well against fairies, or he has to bring the Rotom Wash, which we haven't seen yet.
Oh, I'd love to see a bit of Rotom Wash, but to be honest, let's see in game 3 who's going to be victorious. Is it going to be water type or is it going to be fairy type? It's game 3 here in the set against our 2 gym leader commentators, and on Rosemary's side, she's changing it up again. We've got Whimsicott and Alcremie, and there it is on Aaron's side. It's the Rotom Wash and the Lapras. So an iconic Pokemon choice here for Aaron that can apply some good pressure, but Rosemary has the option to set some speed up as well and do some tricksy things of her own with potential taunts from that Whimsicott shutting down moves from the Rotom. So it's going to be interesting to see what they lock into here.
Yeah, and you see Aaron actually kind of bouncing through the menus, definitely mulling over his moves a little bit. We are going to get a kind of traditional start, I guess, from this team. Get your Lapras into the Gigantamax form early, get your G-Max Resonance down, and get your Aurora Veil into play. That really worked for him. In both games, it's helped out so much, so no real shock there. But it'd be curious to see what this Rotom does in the face of these two. It's not the usual kind of Pokemon that you want Rotom to be facing down. But Whimsicott looks like it's got a bit of an answer to any defensive boost that Aaron sets up.
Yeah, Whimsicott doesn't look too happy that it's in this game 3. Goes for the fake tears into the Rotom. Going to be hit by the Giga Drain now on the Alcremie. So again, showing this type synergy going on here from Rosemary's team, doubling up into that slot, but it's not enough to pick up the KO. Does activate the berry though, so Rotom's not going to have that going forward as it goes for a Thunderbolt into the Whimsicott, breaking a potential focus sash. That's going to make Whimsicott easier to get rid of. If the Lapras has doubled up into that slot, yes it has, with the G-Max Resonance, so removing that Prankster Pokemon from the field is going to give Aaron less of a headache facing down this team. But that fake tears on the Rotom could have been so critical there.
Oh yeah, I mean, if that fake tears and Giga Drain combo had got the knockout, we could have been looking at a slightly different game. But now I think Aaron's put himself in a very strong position. You know, Rosemary's already lost one of her best supportive Pokemon, but you know, we look back at what happened in game one. That Alchemy actually bought so much time by being, I think, bulkier than a lot of people think about. You know, it looks pretty unassuming, but hey, it's taking hits and it's recovering health. That's really important. So Aaron's kind of got a bit of an ask on his hands to wear through that. And the issue here is if you focus the Alchemy, you're leaving Sylveon to do really big spread damage with its Hyper Voice. So definitely some tougher decisions, I think, for Aaron in this one. Even though he's in a solid position, I think this game could turn very, very quickly.
Yes, and although Rosemary has lost the Whimsicott, that could really help out by using Fake Tears to reduce the special defense of the Pokemon before you attack it with a special type move. The Sylveon on the field can help out in the same way, using that helping hand and boosting the damage, but Alcremie able to dodge out of the way of a Hydro Pump there, and Rotom is KO'd in return, so Rotom gonna be leaving the field. That signature Pokemon there for Aaron, sadly not being as victorious as he would have liked, as a Max Geyser comes out from the Lapras, going into the Alcremie for a decent chunk of damage. When it's not in its Gigantamax form, Alcremie does obviously take bigger damage from these moves, and it's just putting Rosemary in a position where if she did want to Gigantamax the Alcremie, she needs to do it soon before it takes any more damage.
Well, we've got to talk about it. Aaron and his Rotom Wash missing moves. Is there a more iconic duo in VGC? I didn't want to bring it up, but that miss, I had to do it. I'm sorry, Aaron. But that miss, you know, that's a lot of damage going down that he probably could have been benefiting from. So, you know, losing it there, pretty interesting considering it wasn't really Rosemary's focus in the turn. The Giga Drain heading towards the Lapras instead. But, you know, she's not in a bad position, and this Alchemy is going to try and deal as much damage with the assistance of the Helping Hand from the Sylveon. It's getting good chunks down, but again, we see the Aurora Veil really coming into play, and both of Aaron's Pokemon looking so healthy with Aurora Veil, Water Absorb landing. It's going to become a bit of a problem, and he's free to fire back some really big damage.
This is the thing, Alcremie going for the Helping Hand boosted Giga Drain. It helps regain some health and allows Alcremie to have that longevity on the field, but at the same time with Sylveon, it is a really powerful Pokemon, but while it's going for Helping Hand, it's not dealing out damage. And I know Aurora Veil's up, so you maybe want to focus trying to do maximum damage with one Pokemon, but I think at this stage, the fact that you can deal big damage with Hyper Voice, it's a spread move, you can potentially get some critical hits as well, as we saw it get in previous games in the set. This could be the option for Rosemary to just start piling on the offensive. Aaron is certainly doing that, goes for another surf here with the Politoed, gonna heal the Lapras right back up to full as well. You know, such a bulky Pokemon at full HP is gonna be a bit of a challenge for Rosemary to counteract. Picks up the KO against the Alcremie. Now Sylveon can retaliate with some decent damage from this Hyper Voice, but will it get the KO against the Politoed? No, not even close.
Yeah, now this Aurora Veil has just caused so many problems in this game. I mean, Rosemary's had, you know, good opportunities. Giga Drain's doing a lot of damage, obviously Fake Tears and Giga Drain's following that up as well. But the Aurora Veil being kind of unmatched means Aaron's always getting more damage down and healing up so much as well with this Water Absorb. This Lapras still so healthy. That said, you know, we did see the Mimikyu kind of swing it back around in game number 1, so it's at full health right now. We talked about it a little bit between games. We'll see exactly how Rosemary decides to play it. She hasn't used her Dynamax yet this game.
Exactly, she hasn't, so it could be the opportunity to get Mimikyu into that Dynamax form. Yes, you might have to sacrifice the Swords Dance, but you're going to get that boosted HP and you can apply some big pressure with Max Overgrowth. And of course, once you do one Max Overgrowth, the grassy terrain is out on the field, so then you're going to be boosted going forward in those turns. So the sooner you get up on the field, the sooner you can deal out even more damage against these Water-type Pokemon, and that really is where the Mimikyu needs to be looking. It does, of course, get this one free pass with its Disguise ability, able to take one hit of damage, so this could be the optimal turn to go for that Swords Dance, but then you're risking the follow-up damage from the Lapras as well. No offensive pressure here coming out from the Sylveon. I thought potentially maybe going for a quick attack just to deal some damage out on that Politoed, but instead going to return straight to its Pokeball and leave Mimikyu once again on the field, going for a Swords Dance and basically being the fairy hero here for Rosemary. Do you think that Mimikyu's going to be able to do it?
There's a lot being asked of Mimikyu. Let's be completely honest. There's a lot being asked of Mimikyu right now to deal with 3 Pokemon, one of which is a full health Lapras. Mimikyu's only at half health. It's pretty much forced to Dynamax this turn and just see how much it can do. That said, you know, the Drizzle was set up, or the Rain was set up really early on, so maybe that'll, you know, if she can kind of weather the storm until that expires, that might help a little bit. But still, working through a full health Lapras is an absolute nightmare. Also, you know, Aurora Veil's still in play. That's causing a number of problems as well. But, you know, you can't rule out Mimikyu after what it did in game number 1. We'll see exactly how it goes. It is going to have to take attacks from both Politoed and Lapras, though.
Yeah, it's just whether it's going to be able to hang on. We saw it in game 1, it hang on just by a slither of health. So Mimikyu, if you're Rosemary, you're going to be hoping that Mimikyu can do that again. Takes the first attack there from the Politoed, but it does so much damage. I was about to say, unless this is going into the Politoed, then Politoed's free to do that again on the next turn. Goes into Politoed, does pick up the KO, does set up the grassy terrain. But I feel like due to the reduced health that Mimikyu is at the moment, Lapras is going to be able to pick up this KO and seal the game for Aaron.
Yeah, especially with that Life Orb damage in the way as well, and Thunder guaranteed to connect. So Aaron Zheng does manage to emerge victorious with his Water-type team. Some really great synergy there. But I think Rosemary's Fairy team really showed it had a number of tricks and that the type certainly had options.
Yeah, it certainly did, and she had loads of great synergy in the team as well, where you've got your supportive role Pokemon with the Whimsicott, the Grimmsnarl, the Togekiss, and then you've